And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
Let's go to Bill in Washington. Bill, thanks for your holding. I appreciate your patience. Welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Hi, Bobby. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. And you?
I'm just right. Hey, I've got a 2013 Chevy Duramax, got 115,000 miles on it. The thing runs like new. I've had people tell me put a chip in it, you get more power, better fuel economy. I get about 19 empty and 11, little over 11 pulling a 7,000-pound load. And I don't need any more power. It's got plenty of power.
Right.
Everybody talks about, oh, you need more power. No, I don't. In my mind, that engine's going to put out so much power over its life, and if you start using up more every time you drive it, the life's going to be shortened. Does that make sense? What are the pros and cons of putting a chip in?
Well, that would be true if it were under maximum power load 24/7, and that would be true. You're talking about using up the life of it. That would be true if the manufacturer delivered it under its maximum potential to output, but the manufacturer doesn't. They detune diesel engines to protect them. So your diesel engine comes from the factory detuned, and all engines, all diesels are detuned. Well, in fact, most gasoline engines are detuned, and you may have heard me talking about the Diablo Sport Intune i2 programmer that
Yes.
well, that unit tunes like an EcoBoost. Here's a good example, Bill, that the new Ford EcoBoost for the Raptor is 39 horsepower and 76 more pound-feet of torque. So it's putting out 450 horsepower now out of a 3.5 liter V6. When that EcoBoost first came out, which is my favorite engine, and I loved it, and talked to engineers at Ford and SEMA. But the bottom line, when it came out, they were getting 340 horsepower and 340 pound-feet of torque out of a 3.5 engine, which is amazing. Now they're getting 450 horsepower out of that same engine, and I guarantee you it's still detuned. So you're a long way from maximizing your package. Now, having said that, let's briefly touch on a programmer. There's no doubt that if I drove a diesel, I would have a programmer. Here's the challenge. The chips that you buy, and you can buy different chips and that have different programs, and there's 3 different settings on one chip. So anyway, the third one, which is the maximum, might put out 150 more pound-feet of torque or horsepower. The bottom line, in order to use that, you better have a pyrometer. You better have an exhaust temperature gauge, because you're on that threshold. So I agree with you that you would not want to run the chip in its third position, its hottest position, unless you had exhaust. And it tells you this when you put the unit on there. But if you just put a regular chip, then you pick up 100 pound-feet of torque, and you pick up 2 miles per gallon on that vehicle with no damage whatsoever and no side effects and no shortening of life, because you're still way under the threshold of what that engine can put out ultimately. Yeah, I know.
So,
it's true.
Would you recommend doing that?
I would. If I had a diesel, and I'm not a diesel guy, but if I had a diesel vehicle, I would definitely have a chip on it so that I could compare the two. And I say that again because the engines that come from the manufacturers are detuned when you get at them.
Gotcha.
As it protects them.
What can a guy expect to pay to do something like that?
I don't know what those chips cost. I'm not sure. I'm curious if the Diablo Sport it works for diesels. I would imagine it would, but I haven't investigated that, and because we put it on Ford EcoBoost. Take a look while you're there. Check their site out, and because if I were buying a product, and I say this not because they're an advertiser or sponsor, but because I use the product and I know what it does, and it's easy to do. There's the challenge. Some of those machines And some of those chips are not easy, and you got to go to a shop and you got to run wires in series. You got to disconnect the box and connect the box in series and those sorts of things. What I like about the Diablo Sport product is that you just plug it into the data port, and it downloads the original factory tune, and then you upload your tune that you want to do. Now, I don't know that it is applicable to diesel engines, but if it were, that's the product that I would recommend because I've used that product. So take a look this week sometime, Bill, at diablosport.com, and I will do the same thing. And then next week we'll round back and we'll discuss it. You're not in a hurry to modify your diesel, but you're not going to hurt the diesel by modifying it as long as we're on the same page. And as long as you just don't go out and buy the hottest product and run your engine till it blows. I understand why you're concerned, and you should be. That's why you should collect all the facts. And I appreciate your call to me today. It was very timely.
All righty. Thank you very much, Bobby.
I thank you, Bill.
Bye.
Bye-bye. What a great opportunity for me, folks, or the way to end the program today. I'm here to help. So tune in next Saturday from 10 till noon Eastern Time. We're the alternative to football about this time, and there's plenty of football coming up later on. I'm Bobby Likis. Like us, you'll love us.
This is Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Bobby Likis Car Clinic is a copyrighted presentation of Car Clinic Productions Incorporated and may not be reproduced or rebroadcast.